Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks today. We're talking Saturday, January 25th. Happy weekend, everybody. The Splash Zone is back in your life. I'm going to have 7 NBA player prop picks for you guys to lock in today. 7 is a lot, and we are actually laddering 2 of them, so it's 8 units risked, but I think there are 14 games today, like every single team except for 2 plays. So more games equals more bets. That's just kind of how things work. Hopefully, I'm not going to be regretting having a heavier slate, heavier amount of picks, bigger card, all that stuff. To do a recap of yesterday before we get into today's picks, kind of a frustrating day overall. We went 1-1 on our official bets. Jared Allen, 15 plus points, didn't cash. Honestly, looking back, that was probably just a bad bet. I think I tried to force that one, kind of make the data work in my favor, convince myself of a bet instead of just kind of letting it come to me. Just a bad bet, but we were able to cash out Gershon Yabusele rebounds, so kind of minimize the damage there. We were down like 0.1 units. The reason why the day was frustrating was because we had Ja Morant on his points plus assists. Now, there was no injury designation for him in the morning. He gets tagged questionable with an illness as the day goes on, ends up getting ruled out, and a lot of the backups went off against the Pelicans. So Ja probably would have cashed if he played, but he didn't. It happens. 1-1, fine, whatever. Down 0.1 units, fine, whatever. On the entire season, we're having a decent year. We're up 24 units, a little bit over that number, which 24 units in January, at the end of January, doesn't sound amazing. When you think of where we came from, it feels very good, especially considering the fact that we're up so far 18 units in the month of January. So it's been a very, very good month. Let's hope that continues today. Reminder to like the video, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Let's get into today's bangers. So the tool that I have on the screen here is Props Madness. If you're new to my channel, please again, subscribe. But Props Madness is a tool that I use for all my NBA betting. If you're interested in checking them out, I put a link in the description of the video as well as the pinned comment. If you do sign up, it would help me out a ton if you used promo code MODI, M-O-D-I, if you want to support the channel. If you don't want to support the channel, that's fine. So let's get into the picks. So I don't have a play in this Pacers versus Spurs one, the first game of the day. I generally try to avoid situations where teams play in back-to-back games, like against each other specifically. Like these 2 teams just played 2 days ago. Those games can kind of be weird. If I were to bet anything, I kind of like the look on Wemby assists. It cashed last time. He had 8 potential assists. You're getting plus money for over 4.5. So that's where I would go, but I'm not betting it, so we can move on. My first official bet is Rudy Gobert on the double-double. So I'm taking him basically to record 10 plus points in rebounds. That's basically what we're betting here. I bet it last night at plus 130 at Bet365. You can actually get a better price. When I last checked this morning, it was plus 145 at FanDuel. Now, whatever I end up sending out to my dub club is what officially gets tracked, both good and bad. In this case, it ends up being bad because you can get a better price than what I got. Obviously, if I like it at plus 130, I like it at plus 145. So Rudy Gobert, not having an amazing season. As you can see, he scored 10 points in exactly half of his last 24 games. You look at the entire season, he's done it in like a little bit over half of the games. So it's not like it's been an amazing season. He's averaging about 10 points per game. The reason why I like this play is because of the matchup against the Nuggets. So one thing that I like about Props Madness is that they group similar players together with points, rebounds, and assists. So you can kind of see, okay, how do guys with a similar profile to the guy that I want to bet, how do they perform against this team? As you can see, players similar to Rudy Gobert against the Nuggets have performed well. 11 of 14 have hit their point prop over against the Nuggets by an average of 3.5 points above what their over-under point total was priced at, which is pretty good. And you look at the names, I mean, it's a who's who of rim-running centers that are similar to Rudy Gobert. Gafford, Lively, Claxton, Capella, Duren, Capella again, Kessler. You go down the list. Now, what's this, like the first 7, 8 hit, and then it's been a little more hit or miss since December and on. But the last 2 have cashed, Gafford and Lively, in back-to-back games against the Nuggets. And Rudy Gobert himself has performed pretty well against the Nuggets. Like we look at one game this year, granted it was in November, so it was when the Nuggets were really struggling to guard these types of guys. But he scored 17 points. He had 10 shots. That's amazing. We go back to last year. Obviously, there's a ton of data of these 2 teams against each other. So he scored 10 or more points in 5 of 9 games, which is fine. He did do it in 2 of the 3 regular season games. He missed one where he only scored, 4 points. They won that game by 21 points. But the other 2, 21 and 13 is pretty good. The playoffs was a little more hit or miss. He did it in half of the playoff games. Still averaged 10 points per game. So that's not terrible. And then again, this year he cashed it in the only game these two teams played. In terms of the play types, it's fine. We don't have data off of cuts. We can assume that they're below average because similar players to Rudy Gobert have success against the Nuggets, but the NBA doesn't give us data off of cuts, which is annoying. They're below average guarding the pick and roll roll man, which is his next category. So the points thing, I like. It's a good matchup. He's historically played well against the Nuggets. In terms of the rebounds, I like this actually as a fade of recent results on his rebound chances. Now, you look at guys similar to him, have not been performing well recently. So this is obviously going to be a little bit sweatier. 5 straight have missed. 5 straight haven't even gotten double digits. Of course, before that, 5 straight cashed. Before that, 1 of 5 hit. So it's just kind of like been cyclical for the Nuggets. Couple reasons why I still like it. Number one, look at how bad his conversion rate has been recently. 6 rebounds on 18 rebound chances, 33% hit rate. 4 rebounds on 14 rebound chances, worse than a 33% hit rate. 6 rebounds on 13 rebound chances, less than a 50% hit rate. He's missed in 3 of the last 4, and all 3 of them, he had a sub 50% conversion ratio, and 2 of them, 33% or worse. Rudy Gobert is generally not the guy that's going to defer a lot of rebounds. So to me, this is kind of just an outlier, bad conversion rate on his rebound chances. And if you look at the matchup, it's been really good against the Nuggets. This year, in the regular season 1 game, 23 rebound chances, 14 rebounds. That's kind of more in line with a conversion rate that you would expect from Rudy Gobert, 55 to 60%. When we go back to last year, he hit 10 rebounds in 7 of 9 games. He did it in all 3 of the regular season games with 26, 22, and 21 rebound chances. So the last 4 regular season games between these two teams, he's had 20 or more rebound chances, and actually had 21 or more. So that's the minimum he's had. You go to the playoffs, still good. 4 of 6 games in the playoffs, 21 rebound chances, and then they lost this game by 27. He only played 27 minutes, only had 10. But then 18, 25, 25, and then game 7, only 9 in a game that was, game 7s are always kind of wonky. But regardless, it's a good hit rate against this team. And I love it as a fade of recent results, considering how bad his conversion rate has been recently. So Rudy Gobert double-double is our first play. Plus 130 at Bet365 is what I got. You can get a better price at plus 145. Next up, we're going to head to the Mavericks and the Celtics game. We're going to go to one of our first quarter kings, Kristaps Porzingis, over 5.5 first quarter points. I bet it at plus 110. It's still plus 110. Good to go there. Now, Porzingis, even normally, like when I see a player's hit a bet, what's this, like 7, 8 straight games in a row, that kind of scares me off. It honestly doesn't with the first quarter market, because the books don't really adjust based on how frequently they hit in the first quarter. All they do to calculate the first quarter number is just divide their point total by 4 and then kind of assign the odds from there. And as you can see, he's still been pretty good recently. Like, he scored over 18.5 points in what's this, like 7 of his last 9 games, and the 2 he missed was exactly 18. So he's been pretty good from a points perspective overall, but he's been really good in the first quarter, and that's what we love about Kristaps Porzingis. He's always been one of our first quarter kings. This is dating back to last year. And, 2 of the games he missed, he only played 5 minutes. That's an outlier for him. He normally, at a minimum, plays like 7 minutes in the first quarter. So if we just give us 6 minutes or more, 7 minutes or more, it's 13 of 18 games, 72% hit rate. In terms of the matchup, it's from a play type perspective, it doesn't look like an amazing matchup. As you can see, the Mavericks are the 6th best team guarding pick and roll roll man, which is the play type that leads to the most of Porzingis' points. Although similar players to Porzingis, which there's not a lot of them, these stretch bigs, but 2 of 3 have hit their point prop over. Miles Turner had 30 points against them. Karl Towns had 25, so he barely just went over. But generally, these players perform well. Now, Wemby had a bad game, of course. But Porzingis, averaging almost 7 a game in the first quarter is good. 13 of 18 hit rate is good. And you have to go back to last year because these 2 teams haven't played yet this year. But he's really smoked the Mavericks in the first quarter. Now, these are 1 game in the regular season. He had 13 points. These were all in the NBA Finals. 11, 8, and then 1 game where he didn't do well. He only had 1 point in the first quarter. I think this was the game he got hurt, if I remember correctly. But he really took it to the Mavericks last year in the first quarter. He's been a first quarter king. He also generally, even though his number 1 play type is, his number 1 area of the court where his shots come from are above the break 3-pointers, which is what this is telling you. He also does perform well against teams that are bad at guarding the paint. In the Mavericks, you see like the PIPT allowed, the column highlighted in blue, points in the paint allowed, 19th. So they're allowing like the 11th, 12th most. Will we look at teams that are just like 18th and worst? Granted, it's only been 9 games, but he's hit it in 7 of 9 games, averaging 7.5 points per game. One of the games he missed, he had exactly 5 points. The other one just didn't really even come close. But Kristaps Porzingis, he's a first quarter king. Let's just hope he continues to be one tonight. That's play number 2. Play number 3 is in the Heat versus Nets game. And I actually am going to have a ladder play on this as well. It's Nick Claxton. I took him over 7.5 rebounds, and I also laddered him up to 10 plus rebounds as well. I put a half unit on 10 plus, full unit on over 7.5. Now the over 7.5 I got at plus 100 at FanDuel. Props Madness doesn't pull FanDuel odds, so that's why you don't see it on the screen here, is all I'm trying to say. Check FanDuel before you lock in this bet, because I'm pretty sure, at least it was before I recorded, it was at plus 100. The reason why this is a play is all because of the matchup. Now, 6 of 12 guys similar to Claxton have only hit their over, they've only gone over 6 of 12 games, so that doesn't look amazing. Now, 3 straight have missed, and if you look, like 10 rebounds, over under 11.5, 12 rebounds, over under 12.5, 11, 12.5. They've all come close. They've all gotten double-digit rebounds. But if you look at the season, the Heat have actually been one of the better matchups for center rebound props. Like, we're looking at 2 different sources here just to kind of show you. NBA defense versus position, center, Heat allowing the 3rd most rebounds to centers in the entire NBA. And we look at a different source, which is giving us the same exact information. Everything's calculated differently depending on who calculates it. Have the Heat as giving up the 4th most rebounds to the center position. So they're good matchup for center rebound props. Claxton has played the Heat this year, got 10 rebounds on 15 rebound chances. Now, if we're asking him to get to 10 rebounds, we probably want more than 15 rebound chances. If we're asking him to get 8 rebounds, which would cash out our mainline play, we're perfectly good with 15 rebound chances. The Heat in general have allowed the 5th most rebounds in general in the NBA. You look at Nick Claxton, and you can kind of filter this against teams that are bottom 10 in terms of rebounds allowed. He's hit the 8 number in 9 of 11 games, and then he's hit the 10 number in 6 of 11. So even the pumped up laddered number, he has a 55% hit rate against teams that are bottom 10 in rebounds allowed. So I love the Nick Claxton prop. If you just look at by position, which is the center position, it's 8 of 15. So this looks at players similar to Nick Claxton. This just looks at the same position. 8 of 15 sounds a little bit better. I mean, you got Ayton in there. Zubac had 20. So I love this play on Nick Claxton rebounds against the Heat. I mean, Bam is not pulling anybody away from the basket, so centers are able to do a good job of rebounding against the Miami Heat, which is why this is a play. That's our 3rd one. Next up, we have another rebound prop in this Pistons Magic game. We're going with Ausar Thompson. We're taking him over 4.5 rebounds, plus 100 odds at Bet365. This is the exact bet that I took, so you can get the same odds that I got. Good to go there, plus 100, Bet365. So Ausar Thompson, he missed the first month of the year, and when he came back, he was playing limited minutes. Like we see 16, 20, which is not bad, but then 12, 14, 14, 13, 27, which is good, 20, 14. So if we look at the games, like basically after his first 8 games, something like that, we look at his last 13, he's hit it 9 of 13 games, averaging 5.5 rebounds in that stretch, which is really, really good. But the most important thing here are his minutes. Like if you look at the entire season, he's averaging about 18 minutes per game. You look at the last 10 games, he's averaging over 20 minutes per game. And even in one of the games, he only played 14 minutes. He had 5 rebounds on 11 rebound chances. Now we're hoping for more than 14 minutes, of course. If we just look at the minimum being 15, which I think will probably get closer to 18, but he's cashed over 4.5 rebounds in 9 of 16 games, which he's played at least 15 minutes. Missed it in the first 2, missed it in 3 of the last 4, and then I've cashed it in what? He's cashed it in 8 of his last 12 games in which he's played at least 15 minutes. So it's a pretty decent hit rate for Ausar Thompson, even when he's not getting that many minutes. But the matchup is why we are on this play. 9 of 12 players, similar to Ausar Thompson, have hit their rebound prop over against the Orlando Magic. They're not a great matchup in general. Like you look at rebounds allowed, second fewest. But to the forward position specifically, these guys like Ausar Thompson, they get a lot of boards against the Magic. And you just kind of go through the list. We bet him last time. Scotty Barnes cashed out. Russell Westbrook, we did not bet. He hit. We did bet this Jason Tatum one, unfortunately. He did not hit. He had 6 in the first half. He ended the game with 6 rebounds. That was frustrating. But then you go down the list. Josh Hart, Scotty Barnes. And then look who's bolded here. Ausar Thompson, in this exact matchup, had 5 rebounds on 8 rebound chances, played 25 minutes. Even if he doesn't play 25 minutes, even if he's done 15, he's done that in 8 of his last 12 games, playing 15 minutes. We look at in which he's played 18 minutes, still 8 of the last 12. So it really doesn't change there, but he is averaging 6 rebounds in that stretch. It's really just a matchup play on these kind of forward guys having success rebounding against the Magic. Again, 9 of 12, 75% hit rate. It's pretty tough to ignore. So that is play number 4, I believe, 4 or 5. I do have a play here in the Kings versus Knicks. We're going Karl-Anthony Towns, and here's another ladder play. I took him over 25.5 points. That was at minus 104 odds at FanDuel. Then I also laddered him up to 30 points as well for a half unit, also best offered at FanDuel. Again, don't look at the odds on the screen here because Props Madness doesn't pull in FanDuel. Check your FanDuel and see if you can still get those odds that you could at least before this recording. So Karl-Anthony Towns, hit rate people are not going to like it. Sometimes hit rate matters. Sometimes you can explain it away. 10 of 24 games isn't amazing. The reason why we are on this play is because of the matchup. So we go down here to the play types. Literally the top 3 play types in terms of where Karl-Anthony Towns points come from. The Kings are a bottom 7 defense, 6th worst in terms of fouls, 4th worst in terms of the pick and roll man, literally the worst to spot up shooters. Now, good transition defense. So yeah, Cat's not going to get a ton of transition points. But post ups, 5th worst defense. So 4 of the top 5 play types in terms of where Karl-Anthony Towns' points come from, they're a bottom 6 defense, bottom 5 in 3 of them. We look at guys similar to Karl-Anthony Towns. It's guys that make sense in terms of how they play. Porzingis, 22 points. Miles Turner, barely hit his over, 15, but still hit his over. Wemby, back-to-back games against the Kings with 34 points. Now, back-to-back, not in terms of they didn't play back-to-back games, but in both of his games against them, he scored 34 points. So these stretch bigs have a ton of success against the Kings. And you look at Karl-Anthony Towns and how he has performed teams that are bottom 10 guarding his play type, which in this case is the pick and roll man. He's gone over 25.5 in 8 of 15 games, which isn't amazing. It's still above a 50% hit rate, which is pretty good. But look at every single time he went over 30 points in every single one. So like we see 8 of 15 over 25.5, we go to 29.5, 8 of 15 games. So every single time he scores over 25.5 points, he also scores 30, hence why I am laddering this play. So when he goes up against teams that struggle guarding the pick and roll man, he either goes off against them or he doesn't even get to 25 points. Like every game he went under, he was actually 24 and below. Now, looking at Cat recently, his last 10 games, I do like to look at that. He's been decent, 4 of his last 10 games. Isn't amazing. He did hit it in 3 of 4, and then now he's missed it in 5 of 6. So it's kind of just a cyclical nature. 27 in one game, 26 in another, 25. So if we actually go to this 25.5 number, it's 6 of 10 games, which looks a little bit better. But Karl-Anthony Towns, great matchup against the Kings, who struggle guarding the way he scores. Guys similar to Karl-Anthony Towns have smoked their over-under, and Karl-Anthony Towns has smoked teams that struggle guarding the pick and roll man, which is why we are on this play. So I think I have 2 more. So that would be play number 5. Play number 6, another rebound prop. And this is a situation where we're betting on a player who just played this team. We're going Alperen Sengun over 10.5 rebounds. So this was another play best offered at FanDuel. I got it at plus 116. So I would make sure that you can still get plus 116 at FanDuel. So don't necessarily listen to what you see on this screen here. Listen to what we see. Or excuse me, go to FanDuel. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Go to FanDuel and see if you can still get plus 116. The reason why we're on this play, these 2 teams literally just played. So he hit it, which is good. More importantly, look at his rebound chances. 23 rebound chances. If you're telling me like he hit this number and he did not even collect 50% of his rebounds, which is really, really good. And centers have had a lot of success rebounding against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sengun cashed it last game, but overall, 9 of 12 centers, similar to Sengun, have hit the rebound prop over against the Cavs. Now, it's been 2 of the last 5, so a little bit worse recently, but prior to that, like 6 straight centers hit the rebound prop over. It's a really good matchup, and it makes complete sense because Jared Allen isn't, again, kind of similar to Bam. Jared Allen isn't bringing anybody away from the basket. So centers like Sengun can just stay close to the basket, collect all the rebounds. And again, he had 23 rebound chances against the Cavs. If we just say like, all right, how has he performed when he's even gotten 16 rebound chances? He's gone over, I said 16 rebound chances in a lot of games. He's gone over 10.5 in 53% of his games. We up this number to 18. That quickly becomes 70% of his games. And look at all the times that he went under. 9 twice, 10 in every other game. So basically his floor is 9 rebounds when he's getting 18 rebound chances. Now, obviously, these numbers are going to be correlated. Generally, more rebound chances means more rebounds. But I feel comfortable using this because he just had 23 against them last time. So we're asking him to get 5 fewer than that. And it's a good matchup. So I do think that there's reason to believe that he can get at least 18 rebound chances. When he does, he goes over at an almost 70% hit rate, averaging 12.5 rebounds in those games. So Alperen Sengun over 10.5 rebounds, I love. In our last bet of the video, we're heading to the Wizards versus Suns game. And it's another rebound prop. I guess I found something with these rebounds. It's Nick Richards, 10 plus rebounds. So I got this at plus 100. I would check. Yeah, you can still get that. There we go. Plus 100, still available. This is the exact bet that I took. It went up to plus 110, and then it went down. Looks like now it's back to exactly what I was able to bet. Now, Nick Richards, you look at the entire season, you're like, this is a terrible hit rate. He got traded to the Phoenix Suns and has played 3 games. 11 on 23 rebound chances, good. 4 on 14 rebound chances, bad. They lost the game by 26 points, just got blasted. 15 on 20 rebound chances, that's good. So I actually bet him in this game, and this was the one game he went under, so that sucked. But he's been really good as a member of the Suns, and it's a great matchup against the Washington Wizards. The Wizards, I mean, they're an abomination in a lot of places. I mean, you see a lot of green on this graph, meaning they're bad basically everywhere. The important things are the first one, rebounds allowed, 30th. They allow the most rebounds per game. Another important thing is if you go down a little bit, you see pace, 4. They play at the 4th fastest pace in the entire NBA. So they allow a lot of rebounds and they play fast. That's a good sign. 9 of 15 guys, similar to Nick Richards, have hit the rebound prop over, so a 60% hit rate is pretty good. Now, if we just go by position, it looks a little bit better. It's 12 of the last 15 centers have hit their rebound prop over. And Nick Richards, I mean, again, it's only been 3 games, so it's a tiny sample size, but 2 of his 3 games, he's had at least 20 rebound chances. And if we look at like, okay, how does he perform when he has 20 rebound chances, which like maybe that's a little bit high. But we look at every single time he's had 20 rebound chances, literally 8 out of 8, 100% hit rate. We lower that number to 18, 8 of 10 hit rate. So again, correlated, but in a bad matchup, or against, excuse me, good matchup against a bad team, he's had 20 rebound chances in 2 of his 3 games as a member of the Suns. So I really, really like this one. Nick Richards, 10 plus rebounds, plus 100. And that is all we got. That's all of our 7 plays for today, including 2 ladder plays. Real quick, I'll do a recap and then we'll get out of here. Karl-Anthony Towns over 25.5 and 30 plus points. Ausar Thompson over 4.5 rebounds. Nick Richards over, 10 plus rebounds. Nick Claxton over 7.5 and 10 plus rebounds. Kristaps Porzingis over 5.5 first quarter points. Sengun over 10.5 rebounds. And Rudy Gobert double-double. That's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the links in the description of the video if you want to support the channel. Everybody make sure to bet responsibly and have a good one.